Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the hundreds and hundreds of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, I know I haven't been really on YouTube this week. I mean, you guys have been seeing the, if you've been on the channel, Shannon Briggs stuff, the Amiri Mom stuff, the Trevor Bryan stuff. I did go to the Heavyweight Factory. I spent some time there and got some stuff there. If you guys haven't heard already, and I'll be saying this throughout the course of all my other videos, so you're going to hear it in every other video because I'm shooting quite a few videos. I will be going to cover the Terrence Crawford-Hank Lundy fight. I'll be going to New York City. I got accepted to cover the fight, so expect a lot of coverage. You're going to get, interviews, the weigh-in, the press conference, and everything else in between. So stay tuned for that. Hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, man, I'm leaving for New York City on Tuesday night. I'll get there in the wee hours of Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So it should be a good time. But anyway, let's get to the whole point of this video. As we know, we have the Charles Martin and Anthony Joshua fight coming up, and here we have a guy in Charles Martin who is hungry to prove that he's legitimate. That he would have won the title anyway had Glazkov not slipped and hurt himself. And he has a chance now. He's going to the UK, unproven, to take on a guy in Anthony Joshua that many believe to be a legitimate threat to just about any heavyweight out there. And then we have on the opposite side, we have a guy in Anthony Joshua who, 15 fights in, his best test has come against domestic rival Dillian Whyte. And outside of Dillian Whyte, you look at his opponents and you really don't see much. You see, I think the other name that would probably stand out would be Rafael Zumbano Love, who is a career gatekeeper, has fought the likes of Shannon Briggs, also Charles Martin, Andy Ruiz Jr., other guys as well. But outside of that, Anthony Joshua's opponents have been nothing. So with that being said, these guys are fighting not just for that title, but they're fighting for the title of legitimacy. These guys need each other to prove their own legitimacy, and I think the winner of this fight will definitely prove themselves to be more legitimate than they currently are at this point. But Anthony Joshua has taken it a step further. He's saying that once he does hurt Charles Martin, he's going to light that boy up like a Christmas tree. Okay, he's going to get in him. He's going to stop him. So I want to get into the quotes. It's on BoxingScene.com. So shout out to Boxing Scene, all the fine folks over there at Boxing Scene who work very hard on the quotes. So, but we'll get into all the quotes. I'm going to read you all the quotes verbatim, and you guys will dissect them, and we'll go from there. So Anthony Joshua says the following in regards to the Martin fight. It's so soon, but when the opportunity has presented itself, it was something we looked at seriously as Charles Martin called me out. When I go out to fight, I go out to fight. I go out to knock people out. And that's the same with all my opponents. That's why I've always been entertaining. That's why I think 15 fights in this opportunity has presented itself, because of the style and the way I come to fight. Martin is a completely different style of boxer. Martin is a completely different style of boxer, but with Dillian, I took it to a place it didn't need to go. It didn't need to go, but I show that I can fight his fight and still come out on top. Whyte was a bit more personal. That was a fight that could have come at any stage, and it would have been the same fight. Whether it had been 50 fights into my career or 100 fights with tons of experience. Up until the last fight, everything was going smoothly. I wouldn't say it was easy, but I was handling business. That's the same attitude I'm going to take into this fight. I'm going to keep it simple, get my boxing skills on, but once I catch him and hurt him, I'm going to light him up and give him the best punch he's ever seen. So these are bold words, these are confident words, and these are words of an undefeated prospect looking to stake his claim as a legitimate top flight heavyweight and become one of the heavyweight title holders in the division. So as far as Anthony Joshua goes, his stamina problems have been duly noted. I'm on record in saying in my Charles Martin Anthony Joshua breakdown / prediction, which you guys can see in the annotations right over here, I did say that Martin, if he can get Joshua into the later rounds, that's his best chance, because Joshua does have stamina problems. Martin has went the distance before, so that's his best chance. Now, Joshua can box. We did see early in the fight with Dillian Whyte, he was not trusting his jab. He was very stiff. And it wasn't until about the 6th or 7th round, the round he got the stoppage in, when he started fighting inside the pocket, when he started getting comfortable right there at close range with Dillian Whyte, and then that's when the knockout eventually came. But you know, he did a lot of things wrong. You know, we clearly saw him gas out a little bit. So what I'm interested to see is, can Anthony Joshua trust his jab early, and will his conditioning improve with this camp? That's probably the two things I'm most interested to see from him. But as far as fight goes, I think that's what's gonna happen. I think, you know, he's got too many tools for Charles Martin. Charles Martin can fight, so if Anthony Joshua isn't trusting that jab, you know, it's gonna be a long night for Anthony Joshua. He's got to trust that jab and stick it on him early. If not, it's gonna be a tougher fight than it has to be. But I do think Anthony Joshua does get a stoppage under, you know, at least 7 rounds. Martin's gonna give him some rounds, some tough rounds, but I just don't. I don't see Martin bringing enough to the table to deal with this kid. So, you know, I agree with Joshua. I think, you know, he gets stoppage, and we saw when he did fight Dillian Whyte. When he hurt Dillian Whyte, he was composed. You know, he wasn't going in there punching himself out, throwing 6 punches and all that nonsense. You know, he was composed. You know, he was going up to him at his own pace, and then you know, once he got him on the ropes, he did what he had to do. So I think, you know, he'll be composed enough. He'll stick that. He'll learn from his mistake, because he's an intelligent fighter. He's an intelligent young man, and he's older than me, but an intelligent young man. And I'd see him sticking that jab on him early. For the first 4 rounds, you're gonna see if he's smart. If he's as smart as I think he is, he'll be emphasizing that jab more early on in this fight, and not being as stiff. So we'll see what happens, man. But let me know what you guys think. Does Charles Martin light up, or not Charles Martin? Does Anthony Joshua, I should say, light up Charles Martin? And does he get the KO? Leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And you could love me or you could hate me. But at the end of the day, I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.